Hey there, YouTubers. Chris Robson here. I thought I'd share my newest little Mr. Men book. Mr. Men and Little Miss Save Christmas. The newest Mr. Men book reading here. Well, I know it's not Christmas, but hey. Better now than never, am I right? Let's begin. Little Miss Star loved Christmas trees. Mr. Greedy loved mince pies. Mr. Cool loved the Christmas presents. Little Miss Fun liked a Christmas party. And Little Miss Tiny loved everything about Christmas. And everyone liked Christmas. Or did they? There was one person I know who did not. Mr. Grumpy. Mr. Grumpy hated Christmas. Tinsel sent him into a frenzy. And he could not bear the sound of carol singers. He hated the sight of Christmas trees. Christmas stockings sent him into a rage. Christmas presents made him stamp his feet in fury. Mr. Grumpy hated Christmas so much that he even refused to believe in Father Christmas. And Father Christmas thought this was hilarious. Ho, ho, ho. Typical. He's a Scrooge. Each year, Mr. Grumpy grew to hate Christmas a little bit more, until last year he just could not bear the thought of another Christmas. So much so that he devised a plan to cancel Christmas. Yes, you heard that right. A plan to cancel Christmas. On the 1st of December, he opened all the doors on all the advent calendars. Then he banged his drum so loudly that no one could hear the carol singers. Isn't that naughty? He unscrewed all the bulbs in the Christmas lights, he snipped off the ends of all the Christmas stockings, and he chopped up all the Christmas trees. Isn't that very naughty? He knocked all the berries off all the holly, he pulled all the bangs in the crackers, and he filled all the mince pies with toothpaste. Ugh, yuck! He unrolled all the sticky tape so that nobody could ever wrap a present. And then for good measure, he told everyone what their presents were. That is so nasty and so evil. And he removed all the Christmas trees from everyone's front doors, and he released all the turkeys on Farmer Field's farm. And finally, he blocked up all the chimneys just in case Father Christmas was real. Christmas was cancelled. Yeesh. I bet he should be put on Father Christmas's permanently naughty plaque. After all his hard work, Mr. Grumpy sat back in his chair in Gloom Cottage looking very pleased with himself. Suddenly, there was a knock at his door. It was a very sad-looking little Miss Tiny. "Please, Mr. Grumpy, won't you stop cancelling Christmas?" she pleaded. "Everyone is so unhappy, even Mr. Happy." And a large tear rolled down her cheek. "So what?" snapped Mr. Grumpy. "If you would only try a proper Christmas, you would realise how wonderful it is," sniffled little Miss Tiny. "No!" exclaimed Mr. Grumpy, and he slammed the door in little Miss Tiny's face. Ouch! But little Miss Tiny was not one to give up. The next day she went round and knocked at Mr. Grumpy's door again and pleaded her case. And the next day. And the next day. And when she wasn't knocking on his door, she walked up and down outside his house chanting, "What do we want? Christmas! When do we want it now?" By the end of the week, Mr. Grumpy was a lot grumpier, but he was also worn out and worn down. Okay, he cried. "I will try Christmas, but if I don't like it, then no more Christmases ever." Little Miss Tiny clapped her hands with glee and set about restoring Christmas. Little Miss Neat screwed all the light bulbs back in. Mr. Messy's sticky fingers wrapped all the presents. Little Miss Quick rounded up all the turkeys. Mr. Strong fetched a fresh batch of Christmas trees from the mountains. Little Miss Busy baked new mince pies without toothpaste. Little Miss Inventor knitted new stockings on her knitting machine. Mr. Rush rehung all the Christmas wreaths and holly, and Mr. Toad unblocked all the chimneys. Christmas was back on. Little Miss Tiny gathered all her friends for the most Christmassy lunch you could ever imagine. But what will Mr. Grumpy think of it all? He sat in the midst of the joyful gathering, like a dark cloud in a sunny sky. Little Miss Tiny nervously offered him a mince pie. He grudgingly put it in his mouth and chewed. If truth be told, Mr. Grumpy had never actually tried a mince pie. He had just assumed he would not like them. He ate it all, and then he had a second one. Little Miss Tiny smiled to herself. Then Mr. Grumpy listened to a Christmas carol. And again, he had never actually listened to a Christmas carol. He had always stuffed cotton wool in his ears as soon as he heard the first note. His foot began to tap along to the music. He warily opened a Christmas present. He had never opened a Christmas present before. He always threw them in the bin, unopened. The glimmer of a smile appeared at the corner of Mr. Grumpy's mouth. He gave a present. And of course, this was something that Mr. Grumpy had never dreamed of doing in the past. Little Miss Tiny thanked him so much that he smiled. He pulled a cracker, he wore a paper hat, he read out a bad joke, and laughed. Mr. Grumpy actually laughed. Little Miss Tiny grinned. And to her surprise, Mr. Grumpy even enjoyed the company and the laughter and the chatter. Mr. Grumpy had only ever been on his own at Christmas. By the time Mr. Grumpy tucked into the turkey and trimmings, he was definitely what might be described as jolly, and he was positively beaming as he gobbled up his Christmas pudding. Mr. Grumpy was in such good spirits that after lunch he sat and admired the Christmas tree. "Well, I never," he said to little Miss Tiny as the evening drew in. "I like Christmas." "I knew you would," said little Miss Tiny, "and I have one more surprise." There was a jingle of bells outside and then a knock at the door. "Mr. Grumpy, meet Father Christmas," cried little Miss Tiny. Mr. Grumpy suspiciously eyed Father Christmas up and down. "Is that a real beard?" he said, and then he tugged Father Christmas's beard. "Ouch! Ow!" cried Father Christmas, whose beard, as you know full well, is as real as he is. I guess Mr. Grumpy's on the naughty list. But hey, what did you think of this book? Was it brilliant or was it brilliant? Remember to like and subscribe to it. Laters and Merry Christmas. Or, in October, Happy Halloween and all that.